to Magazine Builder Worlds. This is a Burrows and Badgers build. Yes, it is indeed. This is episode 4, I think. Yeah, episode 4 of the Redwall / Mauve Wall build for Burrows and Badgers. A commission build for Black Dragon Miniatures in Hinckley in Leicestershire. And yeah, frankly, this is quite an enormous undertaking. It's been a lot of fun so far, but it's a very, very large model. It's down here. Let's have a closer look at it. So just to recap then, if you haven't been watching this video, in fact, if you haven't been watching this series, you need to go and watch episodes 1, 2 and 3. Pretty much, where the hell have you been? Subscribe and go and find the build playlist. Go and find the B&B playlist and you will find 1, 2 and 3 of this build. If you have been watching this build, then like me, this model will be all too familiar with you, but we're going to have a quick look anyway. So, as we know, this model is 3 feet by 2 feet, built in 3 separate sections, a foot wide and 2 feet long. The middle section is the most complete of all the models so far. This is the main Abbey building, and last time round we looked at the roof and putting in this tower up the top here. Then closer to the camera here we have the Abbot's end of the Abbey. We've got a gatehouse here and the Abbot's own personal accommodation, and then over this end, the third section, we have cells for monks, a refectory and a kitchen. There is still an awful lot to do for this model. I feel I'm kind of like pretty much on the home stretch now, but there's still a lot to do. What have we got to do? Well, over here at the refectory end, we've got to put a roof on the refectory, a roof on the kitchen, a chimney, a fireplace into the kitchen, roofs onto the monk's cells. That also is going to need a wooden cloister, and this has got to become a vegetable or fruit garden with trees or vegetable plot in it. Over here, in the Abbot's end, we need to put either a tree or a fountain. I think I'm going to go with a fountain. I've been chatting with people on my YouTube community and on my Facebook page. Probably going to go with a fountain just for ease of play. But we'll get to that. We've got to add a cloister. We've got to add doors absolutely everywhere. There are wooden balsa wood doors I need to add and gates to the model all over. There are 3 that need doing on the main Abbey. Then there are 1, 2, 3, 4 doors plus a big gate on the Abbot's end, and then over here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 doors plus a gate on the refectory end. Plus a big main gate here maybe at the front of the Abbey, and possibly even 2 side gates here. That's a lot to do. Oh, I need to add a chimney that runs all the way back up the back of the guardhouse, the gatehouse here too, and 4 more gardens. Oh my God, I'm hoping this is going to be the 4th video and the last video, but I'm already thinking that that's an awful lot to be getting into one video. The painting and the finishing might be video number 5. We shall have to see. I've just noticed only this morning that I haven't put capping stones on the top of the piles in here as well. Right, so I'm going to start then with the refectory end of the precinct. Roofs, fireplace, chimney in the kitchen, the cloister and all the wooden doorways. That's a lot to be doing, but I need to really get on with that. So this video then, I'm not going to include lots and lots of tiling roofs. I kind of covered that last time. All I need to get to now is going to be the kind of final paint of that, where I'll give you my opinion on war bases, laser cut roof tiles, because I quite like them actually, but I need to see what they're like when they're painted to kind of like give you a final kind of opinion. But this video definitely is going to include then a focus on working with balsa wood, because I've got a whole bunch of doors and gates to make and the cloisters on both ends. So we're going to start over here, but then we're going to move to try and get down to the Abbot's end and finish off various bits and pieces there, and then we're going to consider the gardens. So that's a lot to be getting on with. So unless you've got to go back and subscribe and then watch all the other videos, let's crack on. So we're adding detail then to the kitchen and refectory. I've got to do this before I add the roof, because the roof is going to fit around it. So I'm not putting masses and masses of detail in the kitchen area here, but I do want it to have a chimney and a fireplace. I'm going to use one of these Mantic forges, but I'm going to use that as the main fireplace. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make a chimney breast out of 1-inch XPS foam that I think I'm going to sink this into a little bit, and then I'm going to have a chimney stuck on top of that, which is 1-inch square. So I'm going to draw shape onto the XPS foam, probably about that width, because that fits in between the two windows, so that will work all right. And then I'll cut it down here so it goes up to a point, so I can have a 1-inch chimney go through the roof, and that way there, that will, because that's going to affect the roof line, or affect the shape of the roof that I'm going to put on, which is going to be tiled. So I need to do that and get that in place first of all. So I'm marking first of all roughly where I want the shape of the chimney to change, maybe about here. And then we're going to draw roughly around this Mantic piece, so I can cut that out a little and sink that into the main chimney breast. So now we can see the fireplace shape, and here's the chimney, and that's where I'm going to cut it so it goes to a 1-inch kind of shape here. Going to have a bit of a neck on it, and then go to a 1-inch chimney to go out of the roof of the building. This is XPS foam I've already textured with tinfoil, which is good. So I'm going to measure across here. That's going to come up. Continue that line up. Continue that line up. Roughly where they're going to reach. Like that. Cut it up. Scribe it. Yeah, we know how much I love that. There we go. But that's going to be the main fireplace in the kitchen, which is going to be one of the only details in there. If the client wants to add other stuff into it, and if it was me, I totally would. That's going to be up to him. Okay, so here we have the fireplace cut out in two places. I've only cut out a shallow bit of the foam here, but that's enough for the fireplace to sit nicely in that. And I've drawn in brickwork, which I'm now going to attach that chimney to it. Chimney hole in the top. And that's going to sit nicely in the back of the kitchen over there. And now I can stick that in, and more importantly I can make my roof around that. In fact, what I'm probably going to do is make the roof over here solid, or what I might actually do. So you have many choices when you're working with roofs about what you're going to do. Like the Abbey itself, I made it a roof that lifts completely off, but that's fiddly diddly around a chimney like this. So what I'm kind of tempted to do actually is to, I think my best plan will be to stick permanently the roof on this side. So I'll cut out a piece of roof and stick that on permanently. That will help stick the chimney in place, and I'll tile down there, and then I'll make this part of the roof so that I can take it off. In fact, I'll come over the ridge, I think, and I'll have a bit that slides in under there and then stops on that. That way there you've still got access into the model to move stuff around in game, but I don't have to, I'm not in as much risk of damaging the chimney when I'm taking the roof off. I think that's what my plan's going to be. Let's see how that works out. Right, so decided to go for a bit of a fancier chimney pot here, so I've added an extra layer of Mo foam cut through, and then an extra bit on the top. Just makes that chimney that little bit taller and more interesting. Just means that Gary's going to have to be more careful with it packing up as well. Sorry, mate. Well, you know, chimneys should be that tall. Okay, so now the roofs on my decision-making process. This bit of roof here is now solid, not going anywhere. This bit of roof is now made to come off. It's got a XPS foam stopper to stop it sliding down, and I need to tile both of those bits, and then I need to do the tiled roof on the refectory. over here, and then roofs on the monk's cells. Now the monk's cells here, it's going to have a permanent roof down this side, and the back will lift off to get access into the model. Although in many ways, you know, I mean, they're the least important bits of the model that need access, to be quite honest. But there's going to be a cloistered walkway out the front. So still got a bit to do, so I'm going to crack on. Stop talking to you. Okay, so this is the roof, going to be the roof for the refectory then. I've decided to do this all in one piece if I can. It's 9 inches by 8 inches, which means it's going to overhang the sides a little and off the front. And all I'm going to do is score down the front of this. I'm not going to cut it in half. Lightly score with my Stanley knife so I can fold the mounting board into shape. Thus, I don't need to worry about the fact I've opened up this bit here, because this is going to have ridge tails placed over the top of it. But then that is going to sit very nicely on there, which is fine. I've got one piece of I've got two. I've got 2 bits of XPS foam that's the right angle that I'm going to stick into the roof to help support and make it, again, help it keep its shape. I'm also going to cut a hole in the middle here, which is going to be to allow smoke to come out of the roof, because it's not going to have a proper chimney and fireplace. It's just going to have a fire pit in the middle, which I've also got to make. Exciting. Although I might put a chimney in the middle. I don't know how those things work. I could put a chimney in the middle, wouldn't be too tricky. Just coming through. It could even match this chimney here, couldn't it? Oh, the agony of choice and decisions, it's so awkward. Alright, this is my fire hole cut out to go in the roof, which is great, but of course then to allow smoke to escape, because there's no proper chimney on this refectory. That does mean there's a bloody great big hole in the roof. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to use this spare bit of roof that I'm going to make as a raised bit of roof here, maybe with some balsa in the corners to hold it all up, so the smoke would go out, but there wouldn't be a whacking great big hole for weather to get in. What do you reckon? I don't even know if that's a thing, but it looks like it could be quite cool. I'm going to have a go at doing that. Yeah, why not? Okay, so I'm quite pleased with this. Roof for all the cells, all one piece, all lifts off nice and neat. That needs to be tiled. Roof for the refectory with its kind of like open chimney hole. I might put some more planking across here, but all the smoke escapes. No chimney stack, and then over the back, chimney on the refectory. All those roofs now need to be tiled. I'm tiling all these roofs. Despite all the conversations I've had with various people on Facebook and on YouTube about whether bits should be thatched or tiled, my conclusion is that this Abbey is grand and has a lot of money. And subsequently all of it will be tiled. You wouldn't have anything that was thatched. Tiling is the way forward, and tiling it shall be. Although it might take a little while, because I don't think I've got enough tiles. I'm still waiting for my delivery from War Bases. But that gives me plenty of time to be getting on with other things. Okay, right, that's the roofs and the chimney and fireplace done on the refectory end of the precinct, which is great. Now I'm going to move on to balsa woodwork. I'm coming back over to the main build to do a lot of this to start off with, to show you what I'm doing, and I'm not going to show you the making of all the doors and gates for the Abbey. That's because there are at least, if I go for the easy option, 17 gates and doors that I need to make, which is a lot. Yeah, I think you'll agree. Now, I have had some people ask me why aren't I 3D printing them. People know that I've got a 3D printer. We know that the windows, for example, were all 3D printed for this model, and it's a really simple reason. I'm not 3D printing these because I've made all the doors slightly different sizes. The arched doorways I've kind of free-handed. I didn't think that far ahead. I was nowhere near enough prepared to do that. If I had to make another one of these, and I'm not going to make another one of these. If I had to make another one of these, I would have planned all the doors and all the sizes and that kind of thing, and probably found files to 3D print. But I haven't done that. I'm going to have to make these myself, and I'm going to be using one of my favourite materials to work with, which is balsa wood. You've already seen me put a balsa wood roof into the tower over here, and a little balsa platform. But now we're going to have a closer look at working with balsa wood. Right, so I'm going to need the Abbey, because I'm going to need that to measure. But what we need first of all is our wood. So let's have a quick look. This is, now I often get asked by folk, where do I get my various materials from? Normally I would go to model railway shops. I've got a couple of decent model railway shops not too far from here, and I would go and buy balsa wood in a model railway shop, mostly because it's a lot cheaper than going to one of the big hobby chains like Hobbycraft. You know, that's from a UK point of view. If you're watching this elsewhere in the world, I'm sorry, but you know, this is a UK bit. But Hobbycraft are the biggest UK hobby retailer, and they sell balsa wood, and eye-bleeding prices, and I don't like to do that. I like to support my local model shops, railway shops, that kind of thing. The closest model shop to me is into radio control things, so you get balsa wood there too. Buying Orbit balsa wood from those stores is much cheaper than buying it from Hobbycraft. But we're still at the back end of lockdown, and certainly non-essential retailers, and apparently, according to somebody else, model shops are not essential retailers. They're not open for me to go and browse. So I've bought a lot of resources this last year from a company called the 4D Model Shop. I think it's in London. It is actually a proper shop, but they have an excellent service. Brilliant website for raw materials. I thoroughly recommend 4D Model Shop, which is the URL is just modelshop.co.uk. I reckon they probably paid a lot of money for that website name. But modelshop.co.uk is absolutely brilliant. Go there. As a model maker, you can just browse absolutely everything. I'm sure I've talked about them from an XPS phone point of view. They're great. And this is how my latest load of balsa wood arrived, in a fantastic box, nice and safe, from the 4D Model Shop. And let's have a look at balsa wood, and one of the reasons why I particularly like using it as a material. I've got loads of them in here. Balsa! One of the reasons why I like balsa wood, apart from anything else, is it comes in such a massive variety. I see lots of model makers in the gaming world use coffee stirrers. I made this out of coffee stirrers, which is great. You can make, of course, you can make scenery out of coffee stirrers, and of course the thing about coffee stirrers is you can probably go and steal handfuls of them from Costa or Starbucks and get them for free, whereas I actually have to pay for my balsa wood. But you only get coffee stirrers in one shape, and that's kind of planky. Now you can get, of course, balsa wood in kind of planky shapes, but the cool thing about that is the fact that it comes in loads of different thicknesses. So this is 1.5 millimeters. This is 3 millimeters. This is only 0.8 millimeters. So you can use balsa wood for cladding, you can use balsa wood for major structural things, you can get it so thin that it curves around stuff, which is terrific. You then of course can get it in loads of different profiles. So here I've got lots of different balsa dowel. This is 6mm diameter dowel. That's probably about 4mm diameter dowel. You can get anything up to an inch or more. Here we go. Look, what's that? That's probably 8 or 10mm in dowel. So you can get round dowels, which is brilliant for making staircases and for making your fortifications and all sorts of other things. And then you can also get it in square and rectangular section too. So that looks like probably 10mm section, that's about 8mm section, that's about, what else we got over here then? We've got rectangular section and square, so it's very versatile. Now of course you can get a great big bit of balsa wood and cut it out yourself, but this is square all the way through, and this is perfect. It's going to be brilliant for making the cloisters that I'm going to be making for this model. Superb, saves me loads and loads of time. You can even get, in here somewhere, where are we? Perfect, there we go, triangular section as well. I don't even know what I need this for, but this is right angle triangle section off, I'll turn it that way around. 12.7mm hypotenuse. There you go. All you maths heads out there. It even tells me how wide it is across here. So it's an excellent material to work with. I like it a lot. I'm going to start then by making the main door for the Abbey. I'm going to show you what I do when I make doors, and the main process for making the main door for the Abbey will translate to every other door that I'm going to make pretty much for this model. Box is falling over. The process that I'm going to use for the main door for the Abbey is going to be exactly the same. The thicknesses of balsa might change, but the rest of it pretty much exactly the same. So let's have a closer look at making the Abbey's main door, and for that I'm going to need 3mm thick balsa wood like this. The rest of it I'm going to clear away, put back in that box.
Right, so here I am just freehanding the shape of the gate. This is the front gate of the Abbey, and like the other gates, I'm making it so it's open or closed. I'm making this in the closed position, so this is going to have a slight curve to it, which I'm then going to cut out. I'll cut right down the middle, but as this is the outside, we're going to put a big locking bar on the back of this as well. So this is the central bit of the door. So that's going to fit in there like that. Now there's a bit of a gap on either side, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a wooden bit on either side to finish off the end of the gate, and that's going on the base. There's the base. I cut that from mounting board. That's going to sit on there like that, and I'm going to have a bit on either end. So let's cut that out. There we go. Just gives it a bit of shape to the gate. Not a good deal. That is shit. Right, so I'm making the Abbey door here. This is the gate for the main front of the Abbey. I'm drawing in balsa wood in the lines in the balsa wood, but what I've also done is cut what we tend to call a postern gate into the main gate. This is where, if they didn't want to open the whole gate for a walking traveller, they could do. So there's going to be extra hinges on the inside to work on. Yay! Alrighty, drawn into the back as well. I'm going to have to cut that, and loads of the cardboard bracing, metal bands, and the hinges. And it's going to have these two pieces on either side, which will then sit it all nicely on the base to sit in the middle. And then when the gates are open, you just take them out completely. It's easy that way from a gameplay point of view. Right, that's what I'm going to get on with. I've got to cut out some cardboard, make the hinges and the metal braces. Okay, here we have the cloisters outside the monk's cells, and then now over here, thanks to brush and quill, I'm going to be putting in an ablutions hut for the monks as well. Certainly toilets, if nothing else. A little set of toilets along the wall. Let's see how this turns out, shall we? Okay, so here we have 3 stools. They're going to have little holes painted in the top of them, and now I'm going to put a roof on the top over that, and we shall have 3 toilets out in the garden next to the cells. Just for you, Brush and Quill. I hope you appreciate the effort I'm going to. Just for you. I think a badger's going to find it pretty difficult to get under there to have a poo, but you know, hey ho. Squeeze in. Squeeze it in, squeeze it out. Right, got to tile the ablutions hut now. Oh no, bonkers. Alright, here we got the covered walkway, sorry, a cloister, covered walkway from the refectory going into the side of the Abbey. So it's a simple balsa wood structure, which I'm going to duplicate on the other side in the Abbot's gardens to make proper cloisters. We'll go into a bit more detail there, but I'm putting on the roof now. It's like everything else, it's got to be tiled. So that's just cardboard mounting board. Sits nicely under the window though, it's going to look cool. Okay, this is a cheeky Redwall build update then. It's kind of like just making sure we know what's going on as we go. So we have now come over here to the refectory side of things. Roofed refectory, chimney, cloisters on the refectory, Brush and Quill's very own ablutions hut, although I haven't trimmed off these tiles on either side here. So all we need to do over here on the refectory side of things really is texture the base and make the vegetable or fruit garden. Maybe put a well in the back over here, but that one is pretty much done and ready for painting, which is terrific. The Abbey itself is pretty much there now. We've got a gate and the front doors. The gate actually needs a locking bar across the back. I'm going to see if I can sort that out, but and I may well produce extra wooden gates to go here and in here too, but otherwise the doors are on the side, windows are in, everything is good. The rose window needs finishing at the back of the model, but that will happen when we paint. And then coming over to the Abbot's place, the Abbot's residence, we've got front gate here sorted out, the gatehouse. I have chimney cut out to go on the gatehouse, but it needs scribing and cutting into 3 separate pieces to fit on each bit. Decided after much chatting with the folk on Facebook, on my Facebook group and on my YouTube community, I'm going to go with a fountain in the middle here. This is a fountain from Mantic Terrain Crate, although there's a bit that goes underneath it, which of course is having to get the normal make it fix it terrain crate procedure of boiling it in water and flattening it, because it's terrain crate plastic, especially if terrain crate 1 is pretty rubbish. I'm going with the fountain because it's easier from a gameplay point of view. I'd quite like the idea of having a mellow tree in that courtyard, but that's going to be too big, and a fountain will be easy to get figures around. So the main job, and the last main job I've got to do over here, and the last bit of construction anywhere really on the model, is building a cloister that comes out of the Abbey door over here, across the front of the Abbot's house and down this side here. That's going to be in balsa wood, cardboard, using wall bases, roof tiles, just like this bit over here coming out of the refectory going into the Abbey. The plan is that the Abbot could walk from the refectory through the main Abbey building out this side to his door without getting wet if it was raining. That is the last main bit of building to do. Oh, the Abbot's roof could really do with a chimney, and I could possibly put some detail inside the building, but we'll have to see. But that's the last main bit of build. Then it's just texture the bases and get this damn thing painted. So let's crack on with that as quick as we can. Right. So this is the last tricky bit of the build on this model then. It's going to be to make a cloister that runs from here or across the front of the Abbot's house and then down this side wall here. It's not too important it goes down this side wall here, and I'm a bit worried it's actually going to
clash with my chimney over here on this tower. But certainly it's got to run across the front of the Abbot's house. Because, you know, he can't get his head and feet wet when he's going across to the Abbey. I'm doing that all in balsa wood. These two pieces here are the key pieces that are of balsa wood that I now need, because these are made from and were made at the same time as I did the little exit from the refectory into the Abbey itself. So this is an upright out of square section balsa, and then this is going to be the rectangular section that this is the rectangular section that I'm making the gable with, and this is an upright. So these are two bits go together like that, and obviously I've got to cut a load more. So I'm going to cut. I've got to cut a bunch more of those. It's not going to be a very exciting bit, so I don't know if I videoed that. I need to cut 2 to go here, and then 2 to go here, and then probably another pair at the front door, and at least one more at the corner, one over to the wall there, and then I'm going to see how that looks. It's kind of tricky. It might be slightly different. I might have gable ended here and then change the shape so it only slopes down off the roof of the front of the Abbot's house. Yeah, I'm not sure about that, because it doesn't make sense to have water going down this way to his door. I'm going to make this first bit, which is going to need 4 of these, and then see where we're at. That's my best plan. Okay, let's do that then. Okay, take my original piece, mark onto this section of balsa, 4 more uprights like that. See that? Okay, so here I've got my lines marking on here. I'm going to cut at an angle and vertical, and I'm going to do the same for the bits that are going to make the gable. Let's cut out these bits first though. Whoops, I lost it. Oh no. Okay, so sharp knife, cutting through. This is 8-10mm thick square section balsa, so it takes a little bit more cutting than some of the other balsa wood. Could almost do with a little hobby saw to cut this, but new sharp blade should do it alright. There we go. One straight across. He says looking around for a little hobby saw. Didn't include this tool in my little conversation, did I? Look, there we go. But balsa wood, because it's wood, and you can take a saw to it. How cool is that? Yeah, that's quite nice. And then I'm going to go this way. Pull the saw. I used to have a clamp that went on this desk, but I'm done with it. Right, so 4 of those, and now I'm just going to take my craft knife to them. I'm going to clean them up, and also because it's very, very square, I take my knife and just carve and take the edges off, because it's so easy to do with balsa, which is lovely. And then what I'll do after I've done that, a lot quicker and easier to do it before I stick them on the model, is I'll do a bit of weathering on them again with my pencil.
straighten that up at the bottom. Get rid of those lovely machine cut corners on this more hewn timber. It's worn down over hundreds of years of weathering outside. There we go. And then take a pencil, draw into them. With a pencil, it's kind of hard for you to see this, but what it's really doing, apart from anything else, is going to make it a more interesting texture for me to paint. Otherwise, they can be quite smooth. So I'm making sure the outside and 1, 2, 3, 4. Job's a good one. Okay. Just needs a bit of neatening up at the base there. There we go. Now all I've got to do, cut out the gable beams, the bit that make the roof. Do that exactly the same way, you don't need to see that. Apologies this evening if you've got the humming of a hot air blower in the background. It's fucking freezing in the workshop tonight. Now, so we're sticking the bits of cloister together, and what you can see is I'm using Yoo-hoo, and I'm using also a dressmaking pin, which I'm sticking through. That's the nice thing about balsa wood. One bit of balsa into the other to hold the whole thing together in place while the glue sticks, and to give it that extra bit strength. Okay, so I've got some of that hanging over there, that's fine. And I'm going to do the same on another one. This one over here. Glue on top of the posts. Glue, glue, glue. Roof beam, roof beam, roof beam. So then we're going to be able to stick them together, and that will make our gable end. Yay! I'm going to do a bit of judicious trimming at the top to make it fit a little bit better. Well, that's roughly what we're at. So, pin straight through the balsa wood there, through the roof, into the top. Because it hurts your finger, look, look. I'm going to push the last little bit in with a knife blade, flat of a knife blade, straight in there. And that's going to hold that in place. There you go, 2 of those, that's cool. And then they are going to go these ones then will go outside the Abbot's house here, like this, and then that will give me one end of my cloister, and then I'll put another one over here. Then we roof it and tile it. Yay! Okay, so roof on that bit. Got to put roof on that bit. Got to straighten that bit up because it's on the piss. Gonna have to tile it all, and then cloister. Hurrah! Then all we got to do is find the rest of the base for that fountain, stick that in. And then we got to do something with that chimney because that's not in the right place either. Oh well, keep going. Oh, the cloisters are on and we're just doing the tiling. I've saved you the bother of watching most of the tiling because, you know, we've seen quite a lot of tiling in this film, in this video, but we're nearly there. Just doing this back side, got to do the ridge, and then that is all the structure done. I have stuck in on the fountain. Yay, the fountain is stuck on. I'm now at the point where, apart from this chimney, which I've got to scribe and cut to fit on the various back bits of the tower,
we're all done. I'm not putting a cloister across here because of that chimney. It's going to wreck it in the wrong place, so I'm just going to have that open. I might have some little box hedges along here or something when we get to doing the garden. We'll see how we go. Nearly finished the tiling. Gary, I've nearly finished. Well, I haven't nearly finished because I've got to paint the bloody thing, but I've nearly finished building. Yay! Yes! Woohoo! Hey! I am delighted to say that at the end of video number 4, full video number 4, the main construction of Redwall, Mauve Wall, is complete. Right, all that's left for me to do is sort out the odd chimney and base it and paint this beast. That's a lot of painting to do. Involved in the painting, which has got to be inside and out. I've got to prime it, I've got to paint it, and I've also got to detail the vegetable gardens and the formal garden, if of any, over here. There's still quite a lot to do. So there will be one 5th video. Redwall Part 5 will be coming to you fairly soon, but not straight away, because painting this, I'm sure you can imagine, is going to take some time. So in the meantime, this is definitely going to happen, because an old buddy of mine, a guy called Reese, sent me this recently. Check this out.
Tim. Ah, there you are. So, we've all seen your channel and your fantastic builds using your foam core and your XPS foam and your bits of card and your bits of stick. But do you want to take on the spray bottle challenge? Huh? See what you can do with a couple of these bad boys. You got 2 weeks, my friend, and you can use 2 bottles. 2 of these, 2 of these, 1 of these, 1 of these, other things, but they've got to have a pumpy top or a sprayy top. Anything you like. Oh, make sure they're empty and all. Crack on, mate.
What do you think of that? I'm totally going to have to do this spray bottle challenge. Actually, will be quite good fun, because apart from anything else, I don't normally build stuff completely from junk. I've watched a couple of other spray bottle challenges, so I've got a few ideas, and I'd like to do something that for a little while isn't Redwall Abbey. Obviously, I'll be painting this in the meantime, but my next video then won't be Redwall Abbey. It may well be a spray bottle challenge or something else. I think I'm going to make it something for Judge Dredd. We'll have to see. Watch this space. Please do comment down below about the model so far, and anything else that you've kind of seen in this video. Let me know what you think. Are you still hanging in there on this marathon Burrows and Badgers build? I hope you are, because I've got to stick in it too. If this is the first one of these you've watched, then you've kind of like jumped ahead of yourself. You've got 3 others to watch. Subscribe to this channel. Go back and watch the other 3 and then leave comments about this one. If you watched the short video about just working with balsa wood, then please do leave me comments about that. And if you'd like other technique videos or material videos, let me know about that too. I hope you're enjoying watching the Redwall build as much as I am enjoying making it. Games. I'm looking forward to getting this completed, all the paint job done, and then being able to play a game or 2 on it, hopefully before I hand it over to Gary, and then I'll be able to get on with some models for some other game systems as well. So, let's have one last look at this week before it gets painted, before it gets that magic black primer all over it to make it all belong together as one model. And I will see you next time on Magathea Builder of Worlds. Thanks for watching. Cheers.